Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Africam Show, powered by Explore.org. We begin this afternoon with a sort of windy, chilly afternoon on the western flanks of Johannesburg, where there is a cotton wool ball enjoying some sun in a sort of stick nest, really. It is, of course, the baby black eagle. My name is James Henry. It's lovely to be with you once again on the Africam Show. Please do send us any questions or comments you might have. That will aid in our discussions and will, negate the need for me to waffle incessantly at you for half an hour about only things that I find interesting, such as cotton wool balls. Hello, Sydney Shelton. You say, hi, everyone. Hope you're having a great day. Rolling Trouble. Hello, James from Washington in the US. Sergeant Pepper. Hi, from Florida. All of which are much warmer places than the black eagle is right now. For those of you perhaps new viewers, a black eagle comes out of its eggy that white color. It is not, in fact, an inordinately large black eagle dung pile. That is, in fact, a baby black eagle. One of two that were born. This one, in the time-honored tradition of black eagles, killed its sibling. That was a pause for dramatic effect. And you can just see a little bit of movement there. I learned something very interesting today from my dear wife, who informed me that, in fact, these black eagles are programmed because I don't think they can actually be pot-trained, to defecate out of the nest. So they somehow waddle to the edge of the stick nest and place their cloacas over the edge, and there they deposit whatever waste they might have, which I think is most impressive, especially given how long it takes a human being to learn how to do something similar. Abdi, you say, good afternoon, everyone. Congrats, James, on your black leopard. Thank you very much. Hello. Here we go. That's live. In case you're wondering, this is not recorded. That is completely live. The black eagle mother has just arrived to reline the nest. Has been shopping at IKEA and has found a really nice, soft IKEA bed for her baby. Looks already assembled though, so perhaps it was from a second-hand store. John, you say good afternoon from sunny Florida. Thank you, John, very much. Sasky Brenda, you say morning, James, from the Canadian prairies. Hello, Sasky Brenda. And Laura Reid, hello from Scotland. It's great to have you with us here from Scotland, where there are no black eagles. There are some hawks and sea eagles, I think, just off the Minch, on the way to the Isle of Skye. I shall stop talking like this immediately. Thank you so much for having us. I wanted to say, for those of you who are wondering what on earth Abdi was talking about, I was in Laikipia, Kenya, recently. Bye-bye, Mrs. Eagle. Back to the shops you go. And in Laikipia, they have got 8 or 9 black eagles, which is spectacular. Not black eagles, black leopards. Black leopards, they've got black eagles too, but black leopards, one of which is viewable pretty easily at the moment. And we spent 3 spectacular nights with this, really surreal young cat who is now about 16 months old. There we have got an elephant. We have moved, in case you're confused, from the nest west of Johannesburg. I'm just trying to figure out where we are here. We're at Tembe, are we? Yeah, we're at Tembe, up in northern KwaZulu-Natal, where the temperature will be cool, but much warmer than it is here in Johannesburg. Thank you, Sicko. You say, have a good show. We'll do our best. Wonderful sight here of an elephant at Tembe having a drink and some impala wandering by. And this is a part of the world that you really want to experience. It's warm. You still get the effect of the seasons, but it never gets particularly cold. There's always a slight hint of salt on the air from the Indian Ocean, along with the beautiful bush of northern Maputo land. I always find with a wilderness scene of any description, there is a sense of the world continuing in the absence or despite human traumas and human beings. I felt that especially during COVID. Not that COVID's finished, but you know what I mean. There just seems to be a comforting sense of continuation that you get when you're in the wilderness. Hello, Anna Emerson. Good morning to you. It's afternoon here, of course, but I'm sure it's morning where you are. This young elephant bull seems to be coming to have a word with us. Hello, yes? Can we help you at all? No, just coming to tickle that rock, scratch his nose, and move along. The impala in the background seem to be having a lie down now. They've decided that it's time for a winter siesta in the sun before it gets chilly tonight, and they have to avoid being devoured by the numerous predators that exist at timber. Now the elephant is returning to say hello to us. So this is quite interesting. I wonder how close to the camera he'll get. Maybe he'll give it a sniff. If it goes black suddenly, or that he's knocked it off the tree. I suspect that this hole... Ah, yes, he wants some mud. Very good. Possibly going to throw it onto himself. You'll read in textbooks, etc., that elephants do this because they want to get rid of parasites. I'm not entirely convinced. It might be one of the partial reasons. I think they really like the feeling of it. And I suspect it does something to treat this. I watched a herd of elephants 2 afternoons ago in Kenya, and they were throwing sand all over themselves. And seemed to be, I find it difficult to believe that would treat a infestation of parasites. Maybe it does, to a certain extent. He's also got a big tear in his ear, which I suspect he got when he was quite young. Brenda J. Wilmot Adams. Hello. You mentioned defecation. I am watching a camera feed from San Diego about the bald eagles, and I was amazed when I saw the baby automatically go to the side of the nest to empty. As a very pleasant way of saying defecate. Thank you, Brenda J. Emptied itself on the edge of the nest. That's fascinating. I had no idea that eagles did this. Obviously, it's not just the Varro's eagle, but indeed the bald eagles, and most likely, therefore, lots of other eagle species, where the chicks go to the edge of the nest to relieve themselves as opposed to doing it inside the nest. Thank you so much, Brenda J. That's really nice to hear from you. Rolling Trouble, you say, is that a mom and baby ostrich at Tau? Right. Oh, I see. Okay, here we go. Now I understand what's going on. We've cut to the Tau camera, and you say that a mum and baby ostrich. What I can see there is a young male ostrich and a whole lot of guinea fowl in the middle. So I think that's going to answer your question for you, Rolling Trouble. I see that ahead of us, you're clearly not watching only the show, but have the cameras live with you as well. Very sneaky of you. So I would say that was a young male ostrich, and a whole herd, flock, I think is probably a better term, of helmeted guinea fowl wandering across the front of the picture. Apparently there was also a male ostrich there with full black plumage. The females are browner. They don't go that black color with ends to their tails. And then you can see a totally different landscape from the one we've seen at Timber, where, you could easily mistake it for the summertime, really, given how green and lustrous the vegetation is. Lustrous? I'm not sure you can describe vegetation like that. Lush, the vegetation is. Fascinating. The guinea fowl will just be wandering by looking for largely invertebrates, but they'll take seeds and basically fairly omnivorous diet. I'm just going to check that up in case I've told you a lie. I would hate to tell you a lie on a cold winter's day. Guinea fowl. I saw, by the way, while we were waiting for my brain to retrieve the information, I did see the vulturine guinea fowl in Laikipia. Astonishingly strange looking guinea fowl species. Omnivorous insects, seeds, bulbs, tubers, and berries. Good. So I wasn't too far off. In fact, I was pretty bang on. I'll pat myself gently on the back. There we are. The ostrich is in fact a vegetarian, interestingly. That's what he's eating. He's looking for small forbs, a forb being an unidentified herbaceous plant, a dicotyledon, so not generally grasses. I don't think they eat grasses at all. You can check that up too. Interestingly, in the Roberts application for birds, the ostrich and the guinea fowl are on the same page. So this information will come with great speed. Food, almost entirely plant material, leaves, seeds, seed pods, flowers, and small fruits. Yes, leaves, seeds, seed pods, flowers, and small fruits. I suspect fairly strongly that the odd insect will pass through the gizzard. Does an ostrich have it? Through the throat of an ostrich. Some birds have gizzards, not all birds have gizzards. So I'm making myself I'm asking myself questions, and you chaps are. Let me just go and see if there are any further questions just yet. Yes, there are. Sydney Shelton, will we get to see you your safaris? Cindy, I'm not sure what you mean. I won't. I'm not going to. We're certainly not going to broadcast any of the safaris we did from Laikipia. Yeah, so I'm not sure what you mean by that, but I'll definitely post some pictures and that sort of thing. And I think you're wondering if I've made a series there. No, I took a guest up there, wonderful guest, and we had a good time looking for we did not film there. But you should, if you're on Instagram, you should follow a chap called Will B. That's WLLB. He's an English fellow who's been photographing those leopards from the very beginning, and he has written a book on those black leopards, and he has also making a series on various bits and pieces of wildlife in Kenya. And if you want to know more about the black leopards, that's the place to find out about them. Carol Parker, mud also protects them from sunburn. Yeah, Carol, I mean, they say mud will protect them from sunburn, but, you know, they don't really get sunburned, really. I suppose mud could help. It would definitely help elephants. It would protect skin from the sun, but it doesn't seem to be essential. So maybe they do it just to cool down. Yeah, I think there is an element of that. I would say that it would be unlikely right now, given the temperature up in northern Maputoland. I doubt it's hot enough. Maybe it is. But yes, certainly there is an element of cooling down and sunburn protection from the mud. But remember, there are lots of animals that put mud on their skins for sunburn, except a lot of those are hairy, unlike the elephant, which has very little hair. So maybe you've hit the nail on the head. Rolling trouble? Oh, you said it was 2 males. Thanks. Yes, you were talking about the ostrich. There we go. Good. So we're back now at Tembe, which is very pleasant, and you can see the vegetation very different from the northwest province, which is where Madikwe Game Reserve is, and that's where Tau is. Lisa, why do you interested what predators would eat an ostrich? Lisa, lions will take ostriches, cheetahs will take ostriches from time to time, spotted hyenas will also take ostriches. So any large predator that is big enough, young ones will be taken by many other kinds of predators, jackals, brown hyenas, leopards. I mean, a leopard might take an adult ostrich. I think it has been recorded once or twice. And then as eggs, human beings, obviously we take eggs. And I'm trying to think animals take eggs. There is brown hyenas take eggs. Brown hyenas crack open the eggs and eat them. So quite a few things. Once an ostrich gets to full size, they're generally pretty safe. Now, we're going to go across to Nkoro to a potentially difficult sighting, well, a potentially difficult situation, I think. So this is a lapwing, and a Blacksmith Lapwing is a very loyal bird to any live safari guide, or indeed any safari guide, because if you go to a waterhole, there you will find a Blacksmith Lapwing almost without fail. Almost, in fact, more reliably than even an Egyptian goose. And here we've got a tiny baby Blacksmith Lapwing. That's not what you're looking at now. I think you're looking at the adult, which is sitting upon the baby lapwing. Now, Blacksmith Lapwings have a really terrible record when it comes to raising their youngsters. And I'm just going to remind myself what it is. I think it's 80% of their chicks are killed before they fledge. I'm just going to check myself up. And I need to check it up because the pain of watching lapwing chicks die just before they fledge is so strong within me and in my memory that I can't actually remember all of the statistics. We watched a beautiful little Blacksmith Lapwing just north of Nkoro at Juma, and it got to just before fledging, and then an elephant stood on it, and that was the end of that. And it named Scoobert, and I got very attached to Scoobert, and it was very sad when Scoobert was returned to the mud spiritually and bodily by the elephants. Now, incubation, development and care. Fledges at 40 days, that's right. And they've been quite extensively researched because they're obviously very easy to research on account of the fact that they are just about everywhere. Breeding success rate. Hatching success established at 87%. When I speak like this, it means I'm reading to you. Fledging success, 20%. Overall breeding success, 23%. Causes of failure include flooding, eggs and young trampled by cattle or eaten by pied crows, gulls, coots and jackals, not trampled by elephants in this particular research. So 23% of baby Blacksmith Lapwing chicks will make it to what you see in front of you there, which means that 77%, if my maths is correct, will not make it. I hope this little chap makes it, and thank you to all of you who are spending your days and valuable hours keeping an eye on our little lapwing. Sorry, I'm just getting an update here. Apparently there is no chick yet. Right, so that lapwing is in fact sitting on eggies, not a baby, unless it's hatched in the last couple of minutes. Lisa White, you say, have I ever had ostrich eggs, James, and how do they taste if you have? I have not had ostrich eggs. I have been reliably informed that they taste exactly like chicken eggs, so I'm not sure. I think it's, I always forget the statistics, but I think it's, how many ostrich eggs in a chicken, how many chicken eggs in an ostrich egg? I think it's about 24. Do you happen to know the proportional weight difference between its front and back end? Those heads, trunks and tusks have to be really heavy. That's a question from someone called No Name. I don't know the weight difference between an elephant's front and back end. Those heads, trunks and tusks have to be really heavy. They are heavy. Generally with a four-legged animal, the fulcrum around which the mass moves, or the center of mass, is around the shoulder somewhere. Which obviously makes the animal generally relatively balanced. It's probably not the same for something like an impala, which seems to be a bit more heavy at the back, or a zebra, but something like a wildebeest or a hyena or an elephant, generally I think the center of mass is over the shoulder. So, and that help keep up, in the hyena's case, a heavy head and heavy jaw muscles, and in the elephant's case, like you say, a heavy trunk and heavy skull. And, well, actually not that. The skull is less heavy than it looks because it's honeycombed, so it's not a solid piece of bone like ours, which I think is precisely for the reason that it would be too heavy, and then obviously to maintain the skull, the tusks. But elephant tusks are very variable in size. They can go from nothing all the way to tusks that touch the ground, exceeding sort of 60 or 70 kilograms in some extreme cases. And, overall, that's not a huge proportion of the elephant's mass, but obviously it adds a lot to the head. And I think as they grow very slowly, so the muscles around the head and around the spine and neck that need to support those tusks grow and develop. Perhaps a very old elephant with extremely heavy tusks does die, with a slightly stiffer neck than one that doesn't have big tusks. I'm sure, but I think that's possible. So this is a dedicated parent, and I'll just quickly tell you, I think I may have told you this, but extremely insensitive viewer has said Scoobert was then renamed Scooblat. Thank you, no name. I'm glad you didn't write your name there, because I would be probably flinging invective your way. The hatchings have... That's very funny. So the hatching success rate will be 87% of eggies that are laid will hatch into baby chicks, and that will happen 50 to 55 days after. It will between hatching and first clutching. Please, no, sorry, I'm talking rubbish. Hang on a second. Incubation is 26 to 33 days. By both sex, shifts typically 20 to 80 minutes. That's very sensible. I'm hoping that when my wife produces my heir, the sensible parenting strategy of the Blacksmith Lapwing will be adopted. I will simply do as I'm told, of course. Right, I think I've said everything I can about the Blacksmith Lapwing. Let's try and find something else, shall we? Let's go across to another camera. No, we're not going to, because we're going to be talking more about these lapwings. We've got some nice questions. What is the color of the ostrich egg? No name. The color of the ostrich egg is off-white, sort of creamy color. Stuck in bed, do they sleep? The lapwings, yes, they do sleep. I read something very interesting about birds sleep the other day in a book that I've since lost, which is very irritating. A lot of birds are able to sleep one side of the brain at a time. So when you see something like a duck, which is not related to a lapwing, in case you were wondering, with a duck with its neck or head bent backwards, they say the wing, but it's not under the wing, bent back towards one wing, what they're doing is they are sleeping with the side of the head facing the body, where it's nice and dark, and then the other eye is often open, and that eye will be looking out for predators while the other eye sleeps. And that, of course, means that one side of the brain is asleep and the other is awake and looking for predators, which I think is remarkable. But Blacksmith Lapwings definitely sleep, and they probably sleep mostly in the evening. That is a picture of a cloud, and we are now going across to a picture of a crocodile, which must be on the banks of the Olifants River in Limpopo province, the Balule Game Reserve, the Greater Kruger. Some green pigeons in the background, I think. Can we? Unless my ears deceive me. It's quite possible. Lovely sound of a gentle flowing river, somewhat sullied, by the presence of two enormous crocodiles that would almost certainly savage you if you tried to swim across it in that particular area. So two large crocs, and this is why people in Africa generally avoid swimming, because you just never know where there's going to be a crocodile. And in fact, in Laikipia, we went for a picnic one afternoon, which was very pleasant, and we went swimming in one of the rivers, and it was such a rare pleasure to be able to do that, given the fact that most inland African rivers are riddled or infested with these crocodiles, and if they aren't infested with these crocodiles, you often are surprised that they have arrived from somewhere else. These chaps are using the last afternoon sun to warm up just before the cool of the night, and it'll be much cooler here than it does where it was in KwaZulu. Drop down around 10 degrees on a really cold night, and up at Tau it'll probably get down as low as freezing on some mornings. So it's quite a nice sort of range of temperatures in these different areas. Lisa White, is an elephant's eyeball close to the size of a human's? No, Lisa White, an elephant's eyeball is much, much bigger than a human's. A human's, if you were to take your eye out, and I wouldn't suggest doing this at home because you will need to seek medical attention immediately, a human's eyeball is about the size of a ping pong ball. You take the eye out, although you can't, it doesn't look that big when you look at yourself in the mirror. An elephant's is about the size, it's probably about the size of a gem squash, a large gem, somewhere around there. So they've got much bigger eyes than ours. A lot of people will tell you elephants don't see very well. A lot of people that buffalo don't well. They're all talking rubbish. I think they both see very well. And I think they sometimes don't look very carefully, but when they look in a particular direction, they do see well. Those crocodiles are on an island there in the middle of the Olifants River. And like I say, just enjoying the last of the sun. I doubt they'll go back into the water. I think this is quite a tricky time of year for them. The water's cold, and it does get very cool over the nights. They'll probably spend proportionately much less time in the water than they would during the summer, where it is beastly hot in this part of the world. Now we're looking at some sticks. Fantastic. I always like a good stick shot to end the show. Nothing like a good collection of sticks. Brenda J., this is interesting. Thank you for all the information videos from Kevin Richardson. He lives in Africa with the Pride of Lions. He is extremely informative as well. If you aren't familiar with his work, he has actually built a trusting relationship with the lions. Yes, he has, Brenda, not without controversy, it must be said. But Kevin Richardson has certainly managed to do what many others haven't, and that is create a bond with lions, and he's able to view them and interact with them on foot in person. You know, that's interesting. He is interesting to watch, and you can check him out. I think he's got a YouTube channel, which is very interesting. Right, we're back at Tembe Elephant Park for the last minute of the show, where the gentle meanderings of the impala are going to entertain us. Such lovely sounds always at Tembe. There's a great bird diversity in that part of the world. I think they have a bird list in the region of around about 500 birds, probably not at Tembe, but in Stuck in Bed, you say, are the elephants near the river a different color than, say, the ones near the Sabi Sands? No, Stuck in Bed, they're all the same color, but I tell you what, they do look different because of the dust and mud that they throw on themselves. So again, up Kenya, where I just was, the elephants have a sort of dull orange color from the soil there, and elephants in the Masai Mara tend to be much darker because there's a lot of black cotton soil there. So it just depends on the color of the soil, but they are all in fact the same color. All right, everybody, thank you very much for joining us. That half an hour went by rather quickly, I thought, on the Africam Show, powered by explore.org. I will see you tomorrow for Wild Moments, also powered by explore.org. And I'll be joined by none other than the great and wondrous veterinary surgeon, soon-to-be veterinary surgeon, Andrea Jamie Patterson. And that will be a wonderful time of discussion of the highlights from the live cams throughout the week. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.